Imagine waking up on January 1st, 2026, and realizing your healthcare premiums just doubled, tripled, or even quadrupled overnight. You check the news, and you find out that the government has been shut down for nearly a month, all because one man, Speaker Mike Johnson, has helped keep it that way. Why? To prevent a newly elected representative from being sworn in, a representative who could have been the deciding vote to force the release of the Epstein files. But here's the real kicker. While that political stunt plays out, 24 million Americans are about to pay the price. Their healthcare costs are about to explode, and yet, according to Mike Johnson and the GOP, they've definitely got a plan. But do they really?
If the government reopened tonight, would Republicans have a plan to address the Obamacare subsidies?
Yes.
You would have a plan
we
tonight.
have proposals to, we could have that ready immediately. Yes. Yeah, because here's the thing. We work in a deliberative public body, and we have hundreds of members. It's a very complicated, very complex issue that requires a long time to build consensus around. We have ideas on the table, and the whole process of the legislative body is to build consensus around it. That's why we have to do that, and that's what we've been planning to do all along. It was never possible or appropriate to have this decided on a CR, a simple stopgap funding measure for 7 weeks, a clean continuing resolution. The Democrats know that, and they are not being truthful about it. And take Whip Clark's words for it. They shut the government down, and they're using hardworking American families who she says will suffer, and they know it, as leverage for this political game.
If it takes a long time to build consensus, why not bring the House back to talk about the plan that you say you have to fix health care?
Because the House has done its job. The House passed the CR. We did it over a month ago. And we need Chuck Schumer and the Democrats to do what they have always done. They did it 13 times during the Biden administration, 13 times. And Chuck Schumer did it most recently 7 or 8 months ago in March of this year. And he gave an impassioned speech on the floor and said, that's the only possible outcome. You could never possibly shut the government down because it would be dangerous and it would hurt real Americans. Well, he was right then. He is not being honest now.
That was last week. And yet here we are, another week later, and surprise, surprise, there's still no plan. But even Republicans themselves are starting to lose patience. Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, is done pretending that this is all fine. Following a House GOP conference call today, she came out and said, quote, I demanded to know from Speaker Johnson what the Republican plan for healthcare is to build the off-ramp of Obamacare and the ACA tax credits to make health insurance affordable for Americans. Johnson said he's got ideas in pages of policy ideas and committees of jurisdictions are working on it, but he refused to give one policy proposal to our GOP conference on our own conference call. Apparently, I have to go into a skiff to find out the Republican healthcare plan. Apparently, even inside their own party, no one can actually see this mysterious plan. And you know what? The reality is simple, there is no Republican healthcare plan. If there was, we'd have seen it sometime between now and the last 15 years. The real plan? Republicans just don't want the Affordable Care Act, period. And why is that? 2 reasons. First, they hate Barack Obama. They view the ACA not as a program that helps millions of Americans, but as a symbol of Obama's success. Their disdain for Obama runs deeper than their desire to help Americans. So if that means tens of millions of Americans have to suffer while Republicans hobble the ACA just to get revenge on a president they never liked, that's a price they are willing to make you pay. Second, they simply don't care about healthcare for Americans. Remember, this is the same party that cut healthcare by $1 trillion. They stripped Medicaid from 17 million Americans, and now they are ensuring ACA premiums double, triple, or quadruple in 2026. Again, they do not care. If they did, they wouldn't be behaving exactly like they are behaving right now. Not that she deserves much credit, but at least Marjorie Taylor Greene has the guts to admit that her plan is to eliminate the ACA entirely. The rest of the GOP, including Mike Johnson, just treat their base like they are fools. They play games with healthcare because they think you won't notice. They think you're not worth even a basic explanation. But here's the truth. Mike Johnson's plan is to undermine the ACA so much that the people who rely on it begin to hate it. That loss of faith then makes it easier to repeal the law altogether. Think about how cruel that is. They are deliberately hurting people just to make a program less popular, a program that millions rely on to stay healthy or even stay alive. They are creating pain on purpose so they can score a political win. This isn't governing, it's sabotage. And the casualties are everyday Americans, the millions who will lose affordable healthcare, and in many cases, their lives. And of course, if Republicans ever did let us see their so-called healthcare plan, it would almost certainly make a handful of corporate middlemen filthy rich. That's their entire governing philosophy: privatize everything, profit off every system, and make sure someone's getting paid. No services without profit. No assistance without middlemen. No healthcare, no mail, no VA, no education, unless someone's making bank on the backs of working-class Americans. 1 in 8 Americans rely on food stamps. Do you think Republicans are losing sleep over cutting that funding, leaving 42 million Americans hungry? Not for a second. That's the same reason they are not blinking, as they get Medicaid for 17 million Americans, or ACA subsidies for 24 million more. They simply don't care. Or if they do, their votes say otherwise. So let's make this simple. If Democrats give Republicans the few votes they need to reopen the government without a deal in place, then there's nothing, no guarantee, no binding agreement, to make sure Republicans will actually extend those ACA subsidies that keep healthcare affordable for 24 million Americans. Democrats still have a sliver of leverage here, and they are using it to ensure healthcare doesn't become unaffordable. That's not radical. That's reasonable. Meanwhile, Mike Johnson is parading sad stories about government workers going without pay during the shutdown. And yes, those stories are tragic. But here's what's worse: if the government reopens with no ACA extension, those same people will soon be paying 4 times as much for health insurance. So if Mike Johnson truly cared about those workers, he'd stop exploiting their pain for politics and sit down with Democrats today to extend those subsidies and reopen the government. Because if Democrats cave and reopen without a deal, they lose all leverage. And then what? We are supposed to take Republicans at their word. The same people who spent the last decade trying to destroy the ACA are suddenly going to fix it, out of goodwill. Come on now. Democrats are holding firm because they know exactly who they are dealing with. This is the same Republican Party that cut $1 trillion from healthcare. The same one that stripped Medicaid from 17 million Americans and cut food assistance by $350 billion. And we are supposed to trust that these are the people who'll negotiate in good faith later. They've already shown us who they are. At this point, we have to believe them. Mike Johnson doesn't want to protect the ACA, and that affects millions of people, including plenty of Republicans in red states. He and his party hate this law precisely because it worked. It made coverage available to millions who were once uninsured. And they can't stand that. They don't believe healthcare is a right. This is how they destroy it from within, by letting it fail, making it more expensive, and turning public opinion against it. Then, once the ACA becomes unpopular enough, they can finally kill it. But let's not pretend they've got some secret better plan. They've had 15 years to show it, and here we are, still waiting. Mike Johnson knows that if he relents and extends the subsidies, he'll undermine the very plan to make ACA collapse under its own weight. So instead, he plays the victim. He blames Democrats, claims they are the obstructionists, and begs for trust. But ask yourself, what could possibly go wrong trusting the same people who already gutted healthcare funding by $1 trillion? If Republicans want to eliminate healthcare, that's their prerogative. But at least own it. At least have the courage to say what you're really doing. Don't pretend you're helping while millions suffer. Because the truth is, Democrats are asking for one thing, and it's not even partisan. It's something the vast majority of Americans actually support. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, Americans want Congress to extend the expiring ACA subsidies by a staggering 78% to 22% margin. Nearly 8 in 10 Americans side with the Democrats here. So if almost everyone agrees, why is this even a debate? Mike Johnson could fix this in one day if he wanted to. But he doesn't. And that's the point. Because this was never about helping people. This was about politics, vengeance, and control. So if you're a Republican voter out there who doesn't want your healthcare costs to skyrocket next year, pick up the phone. Call Mike Johnson. Call your representative. Call your senator. Tell them to extend the ACA subsidies. Tell them to stop playing games with your life. Because we see what they are doing. And if this weren't literally a matter of life or death for millions of Americans, maybe this political theater would almost be cute. But it's not. It's deadly serious. Before you go, if you found this breakdown helpful, if you want to stay informed about what's really happening behind the headlines, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. This story is far from over, and your voice matters in holding these leaders accountable. Leave a comment below. Do you think Republicans will ever present a real healthcare plan? Do you believe they are intentionally sabotaging the ACA? Let me know what you think. I read every comment. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.